Não, tem 2 minutos. Hello, everyone. Hello, Claudia, Maria da Glória, Monique, Mila, Natalia, Rosley, Carol. There is one positivo here. Not sure about your name, but hi there. I hope you're all doing okay. Remember, if you want to talk to me, just use your chat, okay? There's a chat box here, a bubble at the bottom of the screen, because if I unmute your microphones, it's going to be impossible for us to teach, okay? I'm sorry about yesterday on behalf of Descubra Mundo and on my side too. I apologize for not being able to give you a class yesterday, but I believe that due to the demand, the increased demand of the internet, we had problems and we were totally out of internet. And since we are under a quarantine, we couldn't do anything. So I'm sorry. We will have another class tomorrow. Bruno has told me that he has scheduled a class for tomorrow, and I hope you can attend it. So once again, I apologize for not being able to teach you yesterday, but I'll try to do my best today. And welcome again. Okay? This is something that the Descubra Mundo has decided to do in order to keep you home so you can stay safe and sound. And be careful, okay? So let's start the class. I'll be sharing with you the screen, my screen, and then I'll tell you what we'll be studying today, and we'll go over everything, okay? I'm sure this is going to be an interesting class with a lot of questions, and I hope I'll be able to clear all your doubts by the end of the class, okay? So what are we going to talk about today? All the different past tenses, okay? Simple past, the present perfect with the past meaning, past continuous, past perfect. Many times you do use something and people understand you, but what they understand is not exactly what you wanted to say. So that's what we'll try to discuss here. So let's start with number 1. Please stay with me and let's go to the first part. We have not yet been able to prepare interactive chatting that we could talk. That's why we have to use the chatting that we have here available. That's the only way I can get your questions. That's the only way you can let me know if I can go on, if you have any question or not. So whatever question you have, just use the chat and ask me about it, okay? All right? Let's go there. Differences of past tense. There are basically 4 verb tenses that can be used to describe actions that happened in the past. It's extremely important to be aware of their differences. The first one, we have already discussed that, is the simple past. I told you that when you use the simple past, you have to remember, okay, the time of the action. If you don't remember when the action happened, don't use simple past. Go to the past perfect, okay? We have already discussed this, but we are going to review and maybe clear some doubts here. So every time I say, I saw that movie, I read that book, I went to New York, I should complete the sentence with a time expression, like yesterday, last week, last month, 5 years ago. Even if it's 25 years ago, that's not a problem. You have to use a time expression. This is the idea. And I told you that in the past tense, there are 2 kinds of verbs, regular verbs and irregular verbs. And I also mentioned that to form a verb, to change a verb from the present to the past, if the verb is regular, it's a piece of cake. You just need to add D, ED, or IED. We have already seen all the possibilities, but what we are doing today is a little bit different. We are going to discuss how to pronounce the past tense of regular verbs. I'm going to be very honest with you. One of the worst things that I can hear from a Brazilian is when they use a verb in the simple past, like I worked, I stayed, I called, I played. Okay? I enjoyed your class very much, teacher. Well, actually, you are hurting my ears. That's very bad English. The final ED that we add to verbs in the past tense, to regular verbs, they have 3 different sounds. Okay? So let's start here. Let's review this. Okay? Oh, the final ED is pronounced like ED, just like if you had a separate syllable. Only when the final sound of the verb is T or D, like want, need, start. Can you hear the final sound? Letter T or letter D. What happens? In this case, okay, you add ED and you pronounce it just like a separate syllable, like I needed, I wanted, it started, okay? This is the only case you're going to pronounce ED. The biggest problem probably is not here because the Brazilians always pronounce CD, work it, live it, play it. The problem is the number 2. That's the biggest problem. The ED is pronounced like a T, only T, as in table. If the final sound of the verb is P, like stop, K, as in ask or work, S, as in dress, miss, SH, like in finish, CH, like in watch, X, like in fix. After all these verbs, when you add the ED, you are here. Observe what happens. You have the ED here, but you will only pronounce T. He asked. He asked me a question. You don't pronounce the ED. You write it, but the sound is T. He asked me a question. Why didn't you come to class this morning? I worked hard. Like here, stop. I have the ED, but I pronounce stopped. She stopped going there. She stopped talking to me. I stopped studying at school. Okay? So I write the ED, but I pronounce T, like push. Past tense is not pushed, but pushed. They pushed the shopping cart throughout the mall or the market. Okay? Pushed. So this is the most important. Sometimes you arrive late to class and your teacher says, "You're late." And then you say, "Yeah, I'm sorry. I am late because I missed the bus." Well, your teacher is going to be very happy with you. You are both late and you're pronouncing the verb totally incorrectly. Not missed, but missed, dressed. Okay? Well, if the verb is regular, and it's not here in number 1. It doesn't end in final D or T. It's not here in number 2. Doesn't end in P, K, S, S, H, C, H, or X. What happens? You only pronounce D. D, okay? That's the only sound you hear, D. If you remember when Steve Wonder wrote the classical song, I Just Called, you never heard him saying, I just called. No, I'm sorry, I'm a terrible singer, but I know how to pronounce. It's not I just called. It's I just called. Where did you stay last night? I stayed at a friend's house. Stayed, not stayed. Enjoy, enjoyed, played. Okay, so you pronounce only D. Don't pronounce the ED. Okay, like she filled the car with gas. He named his dog Dutch. I rubbed my arm, okay, because it was itchy. I rubbed my arm. All right? Any problem about this or no? Can I continue?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do an exercise together then. I don't know, where is my chatting box? Oh, gee. Where are you, chat box? I hate this. Okay. What about number 1 here? Fix. I'm going to say the verb in the present. Fix. The past tense is pronounced with ED, D, or T. Let me know what you think about it. Is it D, ED, or T? What's the past tense? Can anybody say it? Okay.
T.
What is it?
T.
What is the past tense? Is it D, E, or ED? I have unmuted your microphone so you can say it. Is it
T.
T, as in table? Yes?
Like
T, like
T.
fixed.
Yes. Yes.
Very good. What about number 2? Happen.
Happened.
Is it ED, D, or T?
Happened. D.
D.
Happened.
D. D.
Yeah. Only D. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
All right. Imagine if you say, what happened, Ed? That's terrible English. Come on, guys. What happened? Happened.
Happened.
Yes. Happened. No. Happened.
Fixed.
Happened.
Happened.
Happened. What happened? Okay. Rest. And now.
T.
ED.
ED. Rest. Observe. Rest.
T.
So.
T.
ED. Rested.
Yeah.
If you pronounce only T, you're going to have double T. Rested T.
Okay.
Rested. Add.
Rested.
Observe the
Added.
final sound. Add.
Rested. Added. Rested.
What's
ED.
ED, D, or T?
Added.
ED. Again, added. Okay, added. Now, like. Oh, like. What's the final sound? K. What's the sound?
Like
T.
T.
Like.
D, ED, or T?
T.
T. I like it. Okay, like it.
Yeah.
What about dress? Dress.
T.
T again. Dressed.
T again.
There was a classical movie, was called Dressed to Kill. So today, when you girls really dress up to go somewhere, People might say, wow, you're dressed to kill. Okay, it's an expression that means you are very well dressed. Okay. What about the verb to enjoy?
Enjoyed.
ed.
Enjoyed.
No ed. You don't say enjoy it. No. Enjoyed. Enjoyed. Only D.
D.
Enjoy. Enjoyed. Okay?
Okay.
What about the
Okay.
verb rent?
Rent.
Ed.
Ed. Very good. I rented.
Rented.
Rented. Okay? It's like wanted. Of course, people say I wanted, but the pronunciation is wanted. What about the verb to face? D, ed,
Face.
or E?
D. Face.
Only D. Face. Face. Okay? And the last one, stop. Stop.
T.
How do I
T.
pronounce?
T.
Very good.
Stop.
Stopped. Okay? Excellent. Thank you for sharing and participating. I'm going to mute your microphone again so I continue. After that, when I have some questions, I will unmute again. Okay? Pay attention to the next part, please. Okay? We are going now to talk about, again, to review the present continuous. I mean, present perfect. What is the idea of the present perfect? We saw in our first class that the present perfect should be used to talk about past actions. Today, we are not going to talk about an action that started in the past and continues. We are going simply to review past. So it's used to talk about an action that happened in the past, but you don't remember the time. And it's interesting because the older you get, the more you forget. Okay? So I myself have been to lots of places in my life. I've been to more than like 35 different countries in my life. I have been to most of the big museums in my life. But I don't remember exactly when. Really, to be honest, I have no idea when. I just remember seeing things. Okay? So if I want to talk about that, like in the middle of a conversation, somebody says, oh, I love that movie. That movie is very good. You can say, yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it means you saw the movie, but you don't remember when, but you saw it. Okay? So I've seen it. And that's it. They will never ask you when. They might even ask you, was it good or did you like it? Yeah, that was good. I like it. But it's not important the time. This is the characteristic of the present perfect. Okay? That's why when you are doing a test, a teacher says you have like an hour to finish this test. And then everybody starts working. After some time, your teacher is going to say, finished? Okay? Finished? Not did you finish? Because it's not important when. What is important is if you finished or not. So it's finished? Yes, I did. Or no, I didn't. Okay? Understand this? Finished? I have studied English for 3 months. It means here, number 2. I said I was not going to talk, but it's here. It's also used to talk about actions that started in the past and are still going on in the present. In this case, we usually introduce the duration by using since or for. I have studied English for 3 months. I have studied English since March. Okay? But this is not the idea. The idea here was to focus in the past. Also, when you have a repeated action in the past and you want to talk about it, you use present perfect. Like, I've seen this movie 3 times. I've been to New York many times. This is typical of the present perfect. You don't usually say, I went to New York 3 times. No, I've been to New York 3 times. Because if you say I went, it would be necessary to mention all the times, and maybe you don't remember. Okay? Good. So that's present perfect. We have already seen this. Now, there is a very interesting tense that we have not seen before. It's called past progressive or past continuous. It's used in two different cases. To describe an action that was in progress at a certain time in the past. If I ask you, for example, where did you go last night? You can simply say, nowhere, I stayed home. What did you do last night? Nothing. But if I'm more specific and I say, what were you doing last night at 8:30? You can say, I was watching the news. You see, you're talking about an action that was in progress at a certain time in the past. Like last night at 11, I was sleeping. That's why I didn't answer your phone. I was sleeping. Okay? And also, when you called me this morning, I was sleeping, still sleeping. I sleep a lot. So every time you want to talk about an action that was in progress at a certain time in the past, you simply use the verb to be in the past. I was, you were, plus another verb in the ing. Okay? This is the primary use, but it's not the only use. Many times the past continuous is also used in connection with another action in the simple past. In this case, it's used to show that one action was in progress when it was interrupted by another action in the simple past. For example, yesterday I was given a class when the internet went down. So what happened to my class? It was interrupted. Okay, that's the idea. Yesterday I was walking home when it started to rain. Okay? Or I was taking a shower when the phone rang. She was singing while I was trying to study. Observe that if I use while to connect, most of the time, both actions were in progress at the same time. Then you use past continuous and past continuous. Like, she was cooking while I was cleaning the house. Okay? Understand? And one more example. I myself don't like the past continuous because it can be a dangerous tense sometimes. Just like in this example over here. Oh, I was kissing the girl when her husband arrived. Can you see how dangerous this tense is? Can you understand what I'm trying to say here or no? Can you understand this?
Yes.
You see, depending on the size of the husband, now I am either in the cemetery or in the hospital. Okay? Because he came in when I was kissing the girl, when I was kissing his wife. Okay? So that's why I don't like present perfect. Okay? No problem about this. Understand this? Yes? Can I just go on? Yes? Okay. Thank you. Let's go to the next part. There is another tense. Okay, if you want to ask questions, you see, I'm not going to waste our time here. You have verb to be, just place it in front. If you want to make a negative, just add not to the verb to be. Like, I was studying, were you studying? They weren't studying. Okay, no problem. I want to talk about the past perfect. I know that a lot of people have problems using the present perfect. That's because they think in Portuguese, and in Portuguese you never say eu tenho estado, eu tenho ido, eu tenho visto. But you don't have to think like this. I think that if you start, even if you think in Portuguese, which is not good, and translate your sentence to English, if you start thinking like this, eu já vi, já comi, já bebi, já conheci, já assisti. Then you start using the present perfect, because that's I've seen, I've been, I've tried, I've eaten, I've read, okay? But on the other hand, the past perfect is very easy. Easy because it's never used alone. It's never a single sentence. Because I've seen this movie, you see? That's it. It's one short sentence. But I cannot say I had seen this movie. The past perfect is formed using had plus the past participle of the main verb. But the idea is, it is only used when you have another sentence in the simple past. So imagine this case here, for example. Yesterday, I had dinner at 6. You came to visit me at 7. Oh, I have two actions in the past. I had dinner at 6. You came to visit me at 7. So when you arrived at 7, I had already had dinner. You see, this action, I had dinner, I finished dinner at 6, and you arrived at 7. So that means there was no interruption. Okay? I myself prefer the past perfect to the past continuous because of the example that I gave you in the last minute here. Like, I was kissing the girl when her husband arrived. And I told you, in this case, depending on the size of the husband, I am either in the cemetery or in a hospital now. But compare this sentence with this one here. See how beautiful it is? Oh, I had already kissed the girl when her husband arrived. So, what do you think it happened now in this case? Was there any interruption? Come on. Was there any interruption or no?
No.
No interruption.
No interruption.
You see? When the husband came in, I was having a cigarette, and she said, "Hi, dear. This is my teacher, Roberto. Roberto, this is my husband, Mike Tyson, for instance." And I was, "Oh, nice meeting you, but I gotta go. Bye-bye." And I left. So there was no interruption at all, understand? Because this first action here happened much before the other. Okay? Understand this?
Okay.
Good. Let's continue. Okay. I'm going to mute you again because there is a lot of external sound. Okay? So again, if you have any question, just write in the box there. Okay? Here we saw the 4 different tenses that exist in the past tense. The simple past, that is used to talk about an action that happened at some definite time. The present perfect, that's used to talk about an action that happened at some indefinite time in the past. The past continuous, used to talk about an action that happened at some indefinite time in the past. Okay, can you listen to me again? I'm back. Okay? I'm sorry, there was a lot of external sound. Okay, Good. Pay attention here. Compare the sentences below and try to understand their differences. Grammatically speaking, they are all correct, but the meaning is quite different. That's the reason why I want to emphasize this class. Sometimes you want to talk to a person, want to tell this person is going to understand you, but actually the idea that you get is not what really happened to you. So imagine a situation like this. Last Saturday night, I'm here reading the setting. Last Saturday night, there was a party in spite of the quarantine. Many famous people were also there. I went to this party too. Note the sentence below. I wrote 3 sentences here. So, when I arrived at the party, Anita left. That's one case. I arrived at 7 o'clock. Anita left. When I arrived at the party, Anita was leaving. When I arrived at the party, Anita had already left. So all of them are grammatically okay. But all of them have a different meaning. Can you understand? Can you tell me, for example, in the first case, can you listen to me now? Yes or no? Okay, good. So I'm sorry, the internet is killing us. Good, good. Let's continue here then. Please, first case, when I arrived, situation is this. I'm going to read it again. Last Saturday night, there was a party, and I went to this party. A lot of famous people were also there, in spite of the quarantine. So there are 3 cases here, 3 past situations. All of them are absolutely correct. So if you see them in a proficiency test, grammatically, they are all correct. But each one of them has a different meaning. And that's what I want you to understand, because I want you to be able to communicate yourself correctly and express exactly what happened, okay? So, when I arrived at the party, Anita left. My question is, what time do you think Anita left? I have 2 people saying 7. She left at the same time. Okay. in the same time that I arrived. Okay, in the same time that I arrived. Okay. There is a person here whose name is a very interesting name. I would never name my son or my daughter iPhone, in spite of being a great phone. I would never call him or her iPhone. But iPhone gave me a right answer. Okay, so congratulations, iPhone. Anita did not leave at 7. I arrived at 7, and then she left. Maybe it was 1 minute after 7, but it was not at 7. I arrived, I saw her, she left. Not at the same time I arrived. Not at the same moment that I arrived. That's not the idea. For example, last Saturday, we were going to São Paulo. I was going with a few friends of mine, okay? And we had combined to leave here at 7 o'clock. I was in the car waiting for them. After all of them arrived, we left. That means they arrived, I opened the door, they got inside, and then we left. Maybe it was 1 minute after 7, but it was not at 7. Understand? It was a fraction of time after. I saw Anita inside of the party. Understand what I'm trying to say? I entered at the party, I saw her, but she left almost immediately. But it was not at the same time. That's why it's important to use the correct past tense. Compare with the second case. When I arrived at the party, Anita was leaving. Same question. What time do you think she left the party? Now you are making me very proud of you. Yes, this is at the same time. Remember the husband. I was kissing the girl when the husband arrived. Oh, he caught me red-handed. This is the expression in English. Have you ever heard this expression? Red, I'll write down here for you. He caught me red-handed. Have you ever heard this expression? He caught me red-handed. He caught me in action the moment I was kissing his wife at the same time. Okay? So Anita was leaving. It's something like this. I was walking inside. She was walking outside. I didn't see her inside of the party. I probably crossed her by the gate outside the party. Understand this? Okay? So when I arrived, she was leaving. And the last case, when I arrived at the party, Anita had already left. What time do you think she left? Very good now. I think everybody understood. It was before 7, before I arrived. Did I see Anita in this case? Did I see her? No. I didn't even see her face, not even the other parts, okay? I saw nothing because when I got there, she had already left. Understand this? So grammatically speaking, all of them are perfect, but all of them express a different idea. And that's why I don't want you to simply speak English. I want you to speak English correctly. We want you to be the best in whatever you do. And that's why we are here, doing our best so you can achieve your best, okay? While you stay home, of course. Any question about this? Or no questions? No, no. Can I go on? Very good. Let's go to the next part then. I prepared some exercise for you, and I'd like to say all of them are in the past. But I'd like to say that sometimes, not all of them, it is possible to have more than one possible answer. But of course, they have different meanings. The first case, for example, you're supposed to complete with the verb to live in the past. Any past can be simple past, past continuous, present continuous, present perfect or past perfect. How would you probably complete this number one? There are two possible answers. Each one of them has a different meaning. My father to live in this town for 12 years. How would you complete this? Erica said, my father lived and have lived. My father is third person, he, so I need to say has lived. It's not possible to say have lived. Then I have lived, has lived, or has lived. Carol, both of your answers are perfect. Thank you for sharing, everyone. Remember only, it's not possible to say have lived. That's the only thing is not possible because my father is third person singular, has. My father, he has lived. What is the difference when I say my father lived in this town for 12 years? What is the idea? If I say my father lived in this town for 12 years. What's the idea? Lived, doesn't live anymore. Yes, it means that doesn't live anymore. Exactly. Two things are possible. He has either moved out or died. Okay? He doesn't live anymore. And when I say, I'm sorry, I wrote fast, it was wrong. Okay. And when I say my father has lived in this town for 12 years, what's the idea now? He lives there now. Perfect. He still lives there. Okay? So in this case, he has lived means he still lives there. Okay? Yes, yes, everyone understood. Perfect, perfect. Now, how about number 5? How would you answer number 5? It's a question. How would you answer question number 5? You ever be okay? I've got a very good one. Yes, 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 yes. Wow. Have you ever been in love before? Who hasn't? Very good. Everybody got this right. Yeah. Maria, had you ever been in love before? What's the problem? You use had. Somebody use it. Had you ever been in love before? It is not possible to say had, not possible, because I don't have another sentence here. For example, had you been in love before you got married? That would be okay. Do you ever have been? No, it's not possible to say, do you ever been? You see, somebody wrote there. Do you have ever been? I only use do when I ask questions in the simple present. The question here is in the present Perfect. So it's, have you ever been in love? Have you ever seen the rain coming down, sunny day? Have you ever been? Have you ever seen? Okay? Not do you ever have been. What about one more? I don't have much time. I just want to finish this. Here, number 10. And to study English for 5 years, but then she decided to stop. What about the answer to number 10? Okay. Be careful with the spelling. Be careful with the spelling. Had studied. Be careful. Oh, the Y is preceded by D. Okay. So I have to drop the Y and add IED. Had studied. Is it possible to say studied? Only this? What do you think? Is it also possible to say and studied English for 5 years? Yes, it is possible. Both are correct. When I say she had studied for 5 years before she decided to stop, that's the idea. She studied for 5 years and then she decided to stop. So there are two possible answers. Okay, so you have some exercises. You also have the answers to the exercise of last class concerning passive voice. I hope you enjoyed today's class. I'm sorry for any disruption that we had due to the internet, but I suppose we are going to have this problem. We do have another class tomorrow in order to replace the class we didn't have yesterday. And on behalf of Descubra Mundo, I thank you all for being here. And I hope that you stay home and stay safe. And I hope to see you again tomorrow. Okay? Take care. Be good. I really don't know what time. Maybe the class is at 3 o'clock, but I'm not sure. Everyone, I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a class, a different class, okay? I'm sure that either Bruno or Gabriel from Descubra Mundo, they will send you the link for tomorrow's class with the exact time. Bye-bye. Take care. Stay home. Be safe. See you tomorrow, okay? Bye for now.